Welcome back into the GSMC Sports Podcast for our final segment of the day. Yesterday, the news broke that the San Francisco 49ers are signing Christian McCaffrey to a 2-year contract extension. 2 years, $38 million, which is a little bit unheard of for running backs in the year 2024, but something that is very much deserved considering the amount of production that Christian McCaffrey has been able to bring really through the entirety of his career. But since he's come to San Francisco, he has been just an incredibly impactful player, and last year he took it to new levels, winning the Offensive Player of the Year award. He led the league in scrimmage yards with 2,023, 1,459 on the ground, 564 in the pass game, 21 total touchdowns. He has been an absolute menace for the most part. And I think that as much as seeing that amount of money, $19 million per year for a running back, is definitely somewhat risky, I feel like the fact that it is going to be a short-term deal. He's going to be headed into his age 28 season, I believe, and that is something to definitely consider. He's got a lot of tread. He led the league in touches last year as well. So that's something that you do have to have a little bit of concern, especially considering his injury history, in terms of, is there a chance that this contract ends up looking bad? But again, the 49ers are really all in on the Super Bowl this year. They're keeping their stars happy. I believe that the way that this deal works actually does sort of reduce their salary cap number for the upcoming season. But this isn't a long-term deal. That's one that the 49ers are going to be stuck with. Christian McCaffrey is an incredible player, and you know what? He's making $19 million, but when you look at sort of the remainder of the options on the table, especially at running back, Christian McCaffrey just fits into what the 49ers do so well in terms of the flexibility of where he can line up, obviously having, other options such as JioSaavn, who can line up in the backfield. That just gives Kyle Shanahan all of these different options to sort of shuffle his hand and confuse the defense on the other end. So listen, again, it's very expensive. It's $4 million per year more than the second largest, annual average value of a running back contract in the NFL. Alvin Kamara is number 2 in that category. He makes $15 million per year, and you would unquestionably take Christian McCaffrey at that 19 over Kamara at 15. So there is really no complaints in my eyes when you talk about Christian McCaffrey receiving this type of a deal. Jeff Darlington of ESPN did say that he doesn't believe it's going to affect the contract negotiation of Brandon Ayuk, which is a part of this conversation because it's not just Ayuk, but it is JioSaavn as well, both of them coming into the final guaranteed years of their contract. They obviously draft Ricky Pearsall in the first round of the draft this year. It seems like that trio isn't going to be here for years to come, but at the same time, they go out and further establish the core that they currently have. Their eyes are on the Super Bowl for this season. JioSaavn put out a quote, I believe it was today or yesterday, that he is ready to sort of move on from all of the nonsense on the offseason and just get back to playing football, which is a great sign. The 49ers should be the favorite in the NFC this year. I really don't believe that there are any teams that have the same level of roster talent. Now, I do think it's probably going to be closer than it was last year, where the Detroit Lions, I liked a lot of what they did in the offseason, especially boosting up on the secondary through the draft, where there's some unknowns, absolutely, but going out, getting Terrion Arnold and Ines Rakestraw, both viable options for them. The secondary was their number one, biggest concern last season. Hopefully you see some of the other defensive players that they drafted last year that held big roles develop a little bit more. Jack Campbell had his moments at linebacker. one of the most heavily scrutinized first-round picks at the time, at least during the 2023 draft, having Brian Branch in the secondary. Melifonwu as well, who wasn't a draft pick last year, but in the past couple seasons, the way that he sort of emerged with the role as sort of a hard-hitting, run-stopping, potentially sending in blitz situations from the secondary as well. Should be interesting to see with them. You do also have the Eagles, who went out and spent some in free agency, adding Saquon Barkley, of course, on offense, where as much as, again, a situation where paying running backs can be a little bit of a risky move, they definitely needed an upgrade over DeAndre Swift, in my eyes. Offensive line took a hit with the retirement of Jason Kelce, but also addressed their secondary as well, potentially got two of, if not the two best corners in the draft with Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. So those, I would say, as of right now, are the top three teams in my eyes. Also, when you talk about the Eagles, as much as it's a roster conversation, the fact that they made changes with the coordinators as well to go out and get Kellen Moore on the offensive side of the ball, get Vic Fangio on the defensive side of the ball. I definitely have more faith in the Eagles for the upcoming season, but even still, the 49ers are pretty easily the best team in my eyes in the NFC for next season. So we will just sort of have to wait and see. I feel like the excitement level right now, as much as we're about to get into the NBA Finals, and of course I'm stoked for that, but NFL really can't come soon enough. So we are going to be starting soon enough. On the show here, we're going to be starting some predictions for each NFL team in the coming weeks. So definitely keep an eye out for that. Let me know which teams you guys have the most thoughts on. But also give me your thoughts on this Christian McCaffrey deal as well, where Brock Purdy is going to be coming up on a contract extension after this season. So I believe the way that this works is Purdy is going to be playing out his last year on his rookie deal, while Christian McCaffrey, again, I'm not 100% sure, looking at the details as they still sort of come out surrounding McCaffrey. They might overlap 1 year in terms of McCaffrey making his $19 million and Brock Purdy being on whatever contract extension that he ends up getting. But, paydays are coming for the 49ers, absolutely, and this is their chance to strike and take advantage. So let me know if you are in agreement with me that the 49ers are the team to beat in the NFC. But that is all we have time for today. Thank you very much for tuning into the GSMC Sports Podcast. Thank you to the GSMC Sports Network for allowing us to host this show. Remember to like, follow, subscribe. Check us out on social media as well for more exclusive short content. We are live every 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern, so we will be back tomorrow afternoon, and we will see you then. Take care. Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great.